Hello, everyone. This is Angelina. Welcome to the broadcast. This past weekend, a geopolitical earthquake sufficiently to be recorded in history occurred, with the epicenter being the dual downfall of CMC Vice Chairman Zhang Youxia and Chief of the Joint Staff Department Liu Zhenli. And this event is continuing to escalate as the only two entire PLA and Liu Zhenli responsible for the overall external operational plans. Their arrests have a greater impact on Xi Jinping than any so-called decapitation strike by international forces. This does not only concern the stability of Xi Jinping's dictatorial power domestically, it strikes at the heart of his global deployments and plans for the axis of evil group since he took office, especially regarding Zhang Youxia. He was a core insider and the primary executor of Xi Jinping's so-called great changes unseen in a century, and his betrayal is a crushing blow to Xi Jinping, far exceeding the impact of the Lin Biao defection incident, far greater. Here's why. At this very moment, the internal power struggle within the CCP is at a critical juncture. And on January the 12th, at the fifth plenary session of the Discipline Inspection Commission, Xi Jinping himself stated that anti-corruption is a major struggle. It's a major struggle that we we cannot afford to lose and must never lose. Well, we did that. We did a live stream before, and we kind of sensed that he knew he is about to fall, right? He's about to fail. So his method for consolidating his dictatorial core is using the knife of the public security, uh, pro, procura, curatorial and judicial system to execute massive purges under the pretext of anti-corruption. Regarding the military, he placed his hopes on his childhood friend and ironclad ally, Zhang Youxia. The CCP's forefather, remember, the CCP's forefather Mao Zedong once said, quote, power grows out of the barrel of a gun, proving that Zhang Youxia was the stabilizer for Xi Jinping's dictatorial throne. And externally, Zhang Youxia was also the co-executor of Xi Jinping's military support for the axis of evil countries. Zhang's downfall means that Xi's ambition to build a global new order has ended in a rotten tail failure. When it involves Xi Jinping's rule, how could Zhang Youxia possibly be taken down over a trivial matter like corruption? Everyone understands this simple truth, right? The tactics used to govern civilian officials don't work on the military, and Xi Jinping can't handle it. Today, the CCP's yesterday. mm, the CCP's PLA Daily published a politically correct but exceptionally awkward article titled, Always Sound the Charge. Sound the charge against whom? Against the internal ranks of their own military, of course. So this article used the 74-year-old case of the old revolutionaries, Liu Qingshan and Zhang Zishan, who had been tempered by the land reform, the war of resistance against Japan, and the liberation war, as an example to state that before the party discipline and national law, identity provides no immunity and merit is not a get out of jail free card. No one can be an exception. It even re-invoked the Yan'an spirit and stated that today technology empowers the military procurement intelligent supervision system, ensuring that anti-corruption leaves no blind spots in the military's procurement system. Zhang Youxia had led military equipment procurement for many years, implying so why do they go all the way? Just say it, corruption, right? But they were trying to say, implying that he was investigated due to corruption issues. So the more they act this way, the more it exposes Xi Jinping's collapse. He is too terrified. He's too worried that everyone will find out that Zhang Youxia was unwilling to die with him and instead choose to cooperate with the United States, using Xi as an entry ticket. Huh. And his plans have completely failed. It's simple common sense, right? There is no formal confrontation between China and the US yet. President Trump even claims to have a good relationship with Xi Jinping, and Putin calls Xi his good brother and good partner. But fake is fake. Good brother. The betrayal of the military and command chiefs has torn away the illusion she spent tens of billions of dollars creating for the world during last year's so-called Victory Day parade. Remember? The Chinese Communist Party is just a paper tiger. So what worries Xi Jinping even more is that purging the subordinates of Zhang Youxia and Liu Zhenli will cause the CCP military to lose more than 50% of its center military commanders. This is a joke in the world, in the world military history. Becoming prisoners of war without a single shot being fired. So how can they fight a war now? The Art of War by Sun Tzu states this very bluntly. He who being unacquainted with the internal business of the army, yet interferes with the administration, brings bewilderment to the minds of the soldiers. He who being unacquainted with the armies of tactical maneuvering, yet shares the responsibility of command, brings suspicion to the minds of the soldiers. When the army is once bewildered and suspicious, trouble will come from the neighboring princes. To translate, if you don't understand the military affairs but insist on interfering with administration, those soldiers get confused. If you don't understand the shifting power of the battlefield, but insist on commanding, the soldiers get suspicious. Once the army is confused and suspicious, enemies will take advantage of the opening. So Xi Jinping's most urgent priority right now is maintaining stability and preserving his dictatorial position by any means necessary. He knows very well, that in the next second, the fate of Saddam Hussein and Nicholas Kaczynski are waiting for him. However, do not forget that at this very moment, the war between Russia and Ukraine is in a stalemate, and Khamenei's regime in Iran is still waiting for the CCP to put out its fires, and Kim Jong-un of North Korea is still waiting for Xi Jinping to continue injecting blood to build nuclear bombs. And this black swan, Zhang Youxia, has left Xi Jinping devastated in front of his allies. I mean, quote, allies. Russia has always relied heavily on Beijing's strategic support and dual-use material assistance. As a high-ranking military figure, Zhang Youxia had close communication with the Russian Ministry of Defense. In the past, his downfall has instantly robbed Putin of the confidence to continue fighting. After 4 years of war, Putin is no longer the great, but rather Xi Jinping's little brother. And the Trump administration has never given up using alignment with Russia to restrain China, to end the Ukraine conflict. The great gift delivered by Zhang Youxia makes the US even more composed. And Europe, meanwhile, may lean closer to the US because the trump cards are in American hands. What will happen to the Russia that Xi Jinping emptied the pockets of the Chinese people to support? And let's look at the Middle East, right? Trump previously announced a 25% tariff on countries trading with Iran, and Iran is facing its most severe wave of protests and external pressure since its founding. In the past, Beijing was Iran's last safe haven. But if the Chinese military is undergoing a deep purge, will its willingness and ability to project influence in the Middle East shrink? The answer is definitely yes. Xi Jinping can't even protect his own position. How can he care about the Alatoyas? And Ms. Mao's the phone call yesterday also mentioned that the CCP military is in a total mess. Some are being arrested, some are being redeployed, and all long-distance lethal weapons deployed overseas are being recalled. I bet Khamenei and Putin want to curse Xi Jinping's ancestors right now. There's no choice. They made a choice a long time ago, right? As Mao Zedong told the whole world, following the Chinese Communist Party leads straight to the crematorium. From this perspective, Maduro truly had foresight. And we must be especially vigilant, okay? The claims currently on the internet saying these arrests are for the good of the country are 100% attempts to whitewash for Xi Jinping. Xi would absolutely not take such a massive risk to take down Zhang Youxia just for the good of the country. This is clearly a mix of the domestic propaganda and overseas propaganda. And we just have to analyze why these people are saying this. Because those saying arresting Zhang Youxia is for your own good are all bastards. This is the CCP's classic trick. CCP people only care about the CCP and their own families. It is impossible for them to care about the good of America or the ordinary people. There are plenty of corrupt people. Why don't they arrest the corrupt ones in the standing committee? And we're talking about the trillions, tens of trillions dollars of corruption in that group. Yet, no action. So it's all nonsense. The military issue isn't just about connecting with the US and the West. It's that they wanted to launch a coup while also connecting with the West. For them, Venezuela is the best example to learn from, right? If it exists and you don't want to replace the vice president, you can both eliminate your enemies and achieve your political goals. Why? Because when the Americans come, they will definitely take down and arrest someone like Maduro. That being the case, if the Americans don't come, Maduro would have been eventually gotten rid of you anyway. So Zhang Youxia's goal was to grab a life-saving straw at the last moment. Give it a shot, save his own life. This is the true using the Chinese Communist Party to eliminate the CCP. Because if you want to revolt but don't get the recognition of the US or the West, and those countries say, I don't recognize you, you will still be overthrown. Any person with common sense knows that before any major power launches a coup, they must get the tacit approval or support from the West. This is the three-step process, as Mao Zedong put it. Do you understand? Otherwise, you just become a sacrificial lamb. But the CCP will definitely release fake news at this time. That's why we need to be very careful and vigilant, stay vigilant on what we are looking or reading. So it is basically the CCP's poison pill plan, making people eat one and die. Mao Zedong mentioned in his call yesterday the appreciation from the fellow fighters within the system of the CCP yesterday. For yesterday's NFSA broadcast is unprecedented. The impact within China is huge, and the audios have been disseminated massively within communist China. It's everywhere. And we do see arrests are happening on a large scale, both domestically and internationally. Don't forget, the CCP deployed lots of overseas police stations over the years, right? So the arrests in Fujian province are no joke. It shows that since she took back full power from Zhang Youxia, it has been very difficult to move forward. She no longer trusts anyone. He has resorted to the tactics used in the Mao and Ding areas, breaking up and redeploying the armed police, moving A to B, B to C, just to prevent acquaintance networking. It is currently special grade combat readiness. All military attaches in overseas embassies are being brought under control. So the Zhang Youxia and Liu Zhenli's incident is by no means a corruption case. It is happening at the tipping point of the global order's reshaping. This isn't anti-corruption at all. It's that people have begun to oppose this system and oppose the dictatorship. For Xi Jinping, it is a collapse. And for the world, it adds a massive uncertainty factor. Look at the Canada's Prime Minister Carney. He just knelt and signed a trade agreement with Xi Jinping. Then, boom, the black swan arrived. And he changes his tune the moment he gets back. Politicians are opportunists and hypocritical. Sorry. As Mao said, this is a God-given gift to the United States. If America wants to truly claim this gift, they must let Mr. Gore return because only he knows, excuse me, how to unwrap that gift and how to use that gift. And we will continue to follow future developments. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow. And don't forget, leave your comments.